Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Even though I'm in my second year, I'm still a young guy in this league, and I still have a lot to learn. So obviously there's X's and O's that I learned from the coaches, from the older players like Jaren and Lowry and Irk. But there's also that mental component where that's just something I have internally for myself that I want to work on and grow in over the years.
6 more games of learning and growing, PK. That's all that's left in this season. There's Kyle Filipowski talking about that process. Next year it'll be learning and growing, but winning. But right now there's 6 games left in this season. And the Jazz play one of the 6 tonight against the Denver Nuggets, a team they just threw a scare into, led with 3 minutes to go, and then fell apart as they sat a bunch of guys who might have helped them win the game. We'll see how it goes tonight, 7 o'clock. See if they can throw another scare into the Denver Nuggets. And then there will only be 5. Thank goodness.
Well, I think Kyle, he's in his second year, and he can learn from Jaren and Lowry, and there's a lot of things he can do, and the X's and O's he can learn from the coaches and play, and then we move on, and, in 10, 15 years I'll be retired, and then I'll get into life and see what I could do then, and maybe have kids and a wife, and then another 20 years after that, grandkids.
Tip-off tonight at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6, and the post-game press conference that PK will definitely be looking forward to. Should get going around 9:30, 9:45 at the latest. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Why did you sell the Mavericks?
Because it's a big emotional commitment, right? You hear the passion and everything. Now imagine going up and down like that every single game. That's hard.
Yep.
2, my kids, they were coming of the age where they would be of the mindset maybe they want to work at the Mavs, and I didn't want that for them. It can be abusive a lot.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, if fans don't like what you're doing or the team's not doing well, you're the worst human being on the planet, and they treat you that way.
Do you have any regret?
I don't regret selling. I regret who I sold to. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes in the process, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe that, PK. I don't know if he's going to leave it at that. He's going to get asked about that again, and he's a good interview. I wonder if we're going to hear more about that down the line. But he sold them, and then they traded Luka, and now they're trying to build a new arena downtown, and we'll see how they do under the new regime. Mark Cuban has his regrets. Sing it.
Oh, who is he to decide what his kids can and can't do?
Apparently, he's the parent who sold the team so they couldn't work for him. That's who he is.
Well, I hope they go get jobs working for him still. That's what they want to do. He's the worst person on earth. Get off social media.
There you go. Hall of Fame has been announced. Mark Few, Gonzaga men's basketball coach. One of the names going in. Amari Stoudemire, Doc Rivers, Candace Parker, some of the other big names. Elena Delle Donne from UConn. So, there you go. No Dick Motta into the Hall of Fame, though.
You just put her at UConn? She went to Delaware.
Thought she went to UConn.
Can you look it up where you are? Is it easy?
I could.
To keep looking stuff up?
She's a blue hen.
Yeah. She's a blue hen, my bad. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
When there's a situation like this, everybody has to cover. Let's put it that way. And so I'm at peace with how I left. I'm at peace with what we did. And look, I mean, they're pretty mad for a coach they didn't think was very good.
Will Wade on leaving NC State for LSU. He wasn't there very long, PK. He bugs out and goes to LSU where they didn't want him. But that was a previous administration, so different people. And now he's at LSU. It's an unusual career path, to be sure. And he's just not going to try to explain it.
Well, who didn't think he was very good after one season? Then why'd they hire him?
I guess they thought they were going to win big right out of the gate, just add water and stir, and presto.
Oh, yeah, NC State. Yeah, they win big every year, don't they?
That's pretty much their rep. Not really. UConn coach Dan Hurley, who does win big most years, said his highly publicized head-to-head contact he had with the referee in the final moments of the win over Duke was because he thought the veteran referee was looking to chest bump him to celebrate. He says he didn't hold any ill will against Roger Ayers, and he likes him as an official.
Why would an official celebrate?
I don't know.
They usually just walk off the floor.
Yeah. Coming over to check the time on the clock, which is what Hurley said he was doing. Told him later. Yeah, 3/10, but it might be 4. So they got to look at it. It's another bizarre moment with Dan Hurley on the sideline. BYU women's basketball facing Columbia in the WBIT championship game this evening. Wichita, Kansas, 5 o'clock. It's on ESPN2. The BYU women trying to win a postseason tournament for the first time.
There's things that are bigger than basketball. That was the big viral thing. Yeah, like everything is bigger than basketball. I would need 4 days before I stopped finding things that were bigger than a basketball game.
See, there's life and there's death. There's health and there's illness. Let's compile a list. We got a little bit of time. Even when you get way down the list, how about this one? And these are two guys who lived in Southern California, but beach or basketball? You can only have one for the rest of your life. Which one would you keep and which one would you give up?
Well, I've never had any reason to give up basketball because I've never owned it.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
I just feel like he's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. He's the guy that's going to touch the ball more than anybody else on offense. And listen, I know he had his struggles, and I think a lot of quarterbacks, they have their struggles. If you look at over the last 5 years, the guy that's thrown the most interception. I mean, the top guys are up there.
I'm pretty sure the Rams lobbied for that game.
Well, I know for a fact they did.
Yeah.
Because so bothersome. Yeah, so hopefully the league will do right and let us play the Rams in Mexico, since we got to go out of the country twice, and they requested us. I'm requesting them in Mexico.
Oh,
not that gives us an advantage. It's just fair to make them go out of the country.
That's 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan. Not happy with the international travel the Niners are facing. The Rams game's going to Australia. He says the Rams lobbied for it. They always have videos after the Niners play the Rams of 40, 50, 60,000 Niner fans in Los Angeles. So they said, take it to Australia, and that's where they're going for the opener. And he doesn't like
60,000 Niner fans?
I see wild and crazy. Yeah, wild and crazy.
60,000 in SoFi?
Okay, 50, not 60. They don't like the overwhelming Niner turnout there.
It holds 70,000 people.
Okay.
Wow, the Cardinals are rejoicing if that were the case.
They also had massive crowds when they played in the Coliseum, and I don't know what the Coliseum held when they played there, but I saw snapshots from there too. It's an overwhelming Niner crowd. There is so much red. And the Rams won out, and they're out. Jets coach Aaron Glenn on Geno Smith, leading them to the promised land, which I assume the Jets define the promised land not as a Super Bowl, but a wild card playoff berth just to get back to the playoffs. It's been a long time for them. Also, the Jacksonville Jaguars will play their home games in Orlando in 2027. their home stadium with an ongoing $1.4 billion renovation. So they're out of camping. They're out of their home field in Jacksonville, play in Orlando temporarily. And Aaron Rodgers is expected to make a decision on his status before the NFL draft. The Steelers waiting to hear if he's coming back or if they should draft a QB.
I think they should draft a QB.
Get on with it already?
No.
What if there's no good QB?
You can have both.
What if there's no good QB they like? Trade up, pry that pick away from the Raiders?
Well, I mean, who drafts somebody they don't like? That doesn't make any sense. I thought that was understood.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little surprised that they would draft a QB. But maybe there's somebody they like. It's not a highly touted class, but that doesn't mean that one of these other guys isn't going to be really good. So maybe they got their eye on somebody.
Right.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Some dinosaurs figured out how to continue to adapt and some died. And I guess that's a little extreme, but I think it's kind of the way it is in college football. The people who know how to adapt are going to continue to move on, and the ones who don't, they die. And so as frustrating as it all is, as much as we all want to just pull our hair out and throw our hands up and realize that this is all extremely crazy, and even being with some of the NFL personnel last Wednesday when they look at you and say, you are insane to be in college football. They're right, but either you adapt or you die.
That's Ohio State football coach Ryan Day with the rare dinosaur analogy. That was different. No cliches there.
Yeah, you're at Ohio State. Hey, boss, I need another $3 million. Okay, we probably can't get it to you till 8:30. Can you survive? I mean, come on. So easy for him to say that.
Yeah, adapt or die. He's not raising money at some of the other schools.
Yeah, he didn't lose a quarterback to LSU and a 1,000-yard rusher to Texas.
Right. Yeah. Life at Ohio State, Notre Dame, LSU, and Texas is different than life at Arizona State or Utah or BYU or Rutgers or a million other schools we could mention. It may not be unlimited cash, but it's the next best thing. It's Ohio State.
Well, it's as much as anybody else has, and it has been for decades.
Yeah. And I was reading a story yesterday. Kyle was saying the money would go up. Did he say 5 or 10%, or did he say 10 or 15%?
He said 15 to 20.
Yeah, 15 to 20. So it'll be interesting to see, because I guess the last 2 years I was reading that it's basically, depending on where you are, it's doubled in 2 to 3 years, which maybe 20% compounding won't quite get there, but holy cow.
Look at you and your financial mind throwing down the word compounding. You've been a money guy your whole life. Good for you.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball. Hashtag golf.
Tiger Woods pleading not guilty to charges associated with a rollover accident late last week. Issued a statement saying, I know and understand the seriousness of the situation I find myself in today. I'm stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on my health. This is necessary in order for me to prioritize my well-being and work towards lasting recovery. I'm committed to taking the time needed to return to a healthier, stronger, more focused place, both personally and professionally. I appreciate your support and understanding and ask for privacy for my family, loved ones, and myself at this time. So,
well, I certainly wish him the best, but, he can just recycle the last one that he read.
Yep. Another rollover accident. Again, there's allegations of prescription medication.
And I have no idea what he must be going through. Any form of addiction, I have sympathy for every single person who's doing it, because I never have had to do it. And I can't relate to it, but obviously it's an issue. So my heart goes out to him and, of course, his family and everybody involved.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball Players Association. Carrying a war chest more than 2 times larger than it did at the same point ahead of collective bargaining with Major League Baseball in 2021. They've accumulated over $400 million by the end of 2025. And they got another year to put some more money away, just in case we don't have baseball in 27.
Well, doesn't that incriminate them? If they're so worried about the money and so forth, and they have all this money, why would they be worried about the money?
Because they got so much. Everybody's got a lot, and they want more, I guess. And they don't want a salary cap.
Doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, what? Shohei is going to get more money? Or is he going to get less money?
Is there a chance that being so prepared will help everyone? Because you heard, well, we've all heard for a long time 2027's in trouble, but you were hearing someone, I think you said it was Steve Phillips, the former Mets GM, who's now doing broadcasting, was saying that they've got such a good thing going. There's so much money that they'll stare each other down, but at the end, they won't be crazy enough to blow up a season. And maybe if both sides know the other side's prepared to sit for a long time, that makes them more willing to come to a deal because they don't want to sit for a long time. Can you spin that as a positive? This is going to help lead.
Sure, but you're getting egos involved, and I'll show you.
That's true.
And then it becomes, if you have that much money, then your ego could be even bigger. If you're not really, if you have a lockout or whatever you call it, a strike, whatever, but it has no effect on my financial life, then who cares?
Shohei Ohtani tossing 6 scoreless innings, striking out 6, giving up 1 hit. He gets his first start. The Dodgers beat the Cleveland Guardians 4-1. Max Muncy with a homer. It's the Dodgers dominating. Wash, rinse, repeat, except it is Shohei.
Yeah, 6 innings. I was watching some of that. That was very impressive, going 6. I think that's his longest outing probably since he was with the Angels a few years back before he's had double injuries here. So, just adds to it for sure. Yeah, he looked really good. And the good thing is, though, he traditionally sucks at the plate on the days that he pitches. I think there's some stats out there. So if you're looking to find a way to beat the Dodgers, you're essentially, now he did go 1 for 3, but you're basically taking his bat out of the lineup when he pitches. You can check those stats. I've seen them. So that's something if you're looking for a way to derail the Dodgers, which is impossible, but if you want to. So, and then the kid from the Diamondbacks, man, Jose Fernandez is probably the 40th Jose Fernandez to play in the big leagues. He's a rookie. In his very first game, he goes 3 for 4 with 2 home runs. Oh,
you got yourself a keeper, a winner.
I don't know.
What is his name?
Jose Fernandez. Can you remember that?
Jose Fernandez. I'm going to try. I'd already forgotten it once. But there have been 40 Jose Fernandezes. I can't.
I know.
There's a long list of rookies who are doing really well. One of your other teams, your Phillies, got a debut out of Andrew Painter, who's supposed to be awesome and all that, and got millions to sign and all that. And he debuted in Philly, and he was awesome, living up to the hype in Game 1, and they beat Washington 3-2. So, bunch of young guys, which is great because now aren't we getting to the point where the guys who are young now will be reaching free agency right about the time the next 2 expansion teams start playing? If the timeline holds and Utah gets a team, hey, these could be our guys. They could be hitting the market, PK.
Yeah, I look for Jose Hernandez to have a long, distinguished career with the Salt Lake Sluggers.
Salt Lake Sluggers. Throw that name into the pile and see where it gets you. The Bees won their first game. They opened up with a 13-5 win over Sacramento. Game 2 tonight at the ballpark at America First Square, 6:35. You can listen on 1280 The Zone starting at 6:20 tonight. That is what is trending. It's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. DJ and PK coming up. Got the question of the day next right here on The Zone. Later in the show, Tim Lacombe, Jazz analyst at 8:30. Mitch Harper, BYU insider for KSL Sports at 9 o'clock. Plus, it's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We'll be giving away concert tickets coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
This is JJ and Alex. I got this.
Jared Weiss covers the NBA for The Athletic.
It's clear that they need to do something. I don't know if what they need to do is necessarily change the way the lottery works, but rather maybe to give the commissioner more power to make ad hoc decisions, like to be able to fine teams or punish teams way more severely than they already have done. Ideally, I think that's where you'd want to make the changes. So therefore, you can kind of like put out these fires when they happen without taking away the competitive balance thing. It's going to change. Hopefully, it will at least restore a little bit of faith in in people's perception of the game, which is already right now really, really in trouble between that and Kalshi and Polymarket and all these betting companies exploding. Like, the league has a credibility issue. It's not a 5-alarm fire, but I can hear the alarm. I'm sure you guys can hear the alarm right now, too, and they got to do something before it gets louder.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Meet Christine. She loves shopping. And this is the sound of fashion overload. Too many fabulous things, not enough space. So Christine started selling with The RealReal.
I've always loved collecting designer pieces. Gucci bags, Prada heels. But my style keeps evolving. Selling with The RealReal? Game changer. I earn more, and they do everything.
Seriously, just drop off your items or schedule a pickup. We handle the photos, descriptions, pricing, even shipping. You just sit back and watch your items sell fast to our 38 million members.
And I get peace of mind knowing I earn more selling with The RealReal than anywhere else.
Exactly. That's the sound of your closet working for you. The RealReal. Earn more, save time, sell fast. And right now, you can get an extra $100 site credit when you sell for the first time. Go to therealreal.com to get your extra $100. Therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest. And listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. DJ and PK, the question of the morning, brought to you in part by Doug Gottlieb. Showed up on Colin Coward's podcast and said there's never been a person that's ever been tampered with more than AJ Dybantsa. Ryan Smith tampering with him. He'll be the number one pick no matter what. Let's hear the bite from Doug Gottlieb.
Is that if the Utah Jazz have the number one pick, they're taking AJ Dybantsa. How do I know? He went to Utah Prep, which is funded by Ryan Smith. He went to BYU, which is funded by Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith owns the Utah Jazz. If you want to call something tampering, there's never been a person that has ever been tampered with more than AJ Dybantsa to end up with the Utah Jazz. Ever, ever, ever in the history of anything. Everybody knows it. Everybody. They're drafting AJ Dybantsa.
What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, well, they got to have the number one pick, don't they? Isn't he going to be gone?
Well, even if you didn't push forward one dime towards this man, young man, if you have the number one pick, you're going to take him.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he funds BYU.
I would be surprised.
I'm just saying, David, there's a higher power who funds BYU.
I would be surprised if there's a bunch of canceled checks with Ryan's name all over.
No, you deal in cash. Don't you know that?
Cash. Bitcoin. Pay him in Bitcoin.
Where I come from, you deal in cash.
There's a reason why they're called bagmen, gentlemen.
Yeah.
There it is.
You don't deal in checks. Who writes a check anymore?
That leaves a paper trail. You don't want that.
Exactly. No paper trail.
You Venmo everything anyway. You don't checks.
I don't think there'd be a Venmo trail either.
I haven't written a check in 30 years.
Well, I believe that. If anyone had written a check, it's your wife. But we'll see if she prefers cash or Venmo. Well, I'll talk to her next time about that. You're not doing that. She's handling that.
Yeah. We have our assigned roles, and that's not mine.
There it is. She saw your math. Hand that over to me. I don't like your math.
Checks.
I assume AJ Dybantsa is going to whoever picks him number one. I mean, for the whole tampering thing to work out in the draft, is he going to hold out or leverage? And we haven't seen that in a long time. I don't even know the last time we saw that. That'd take something extraordinary.
Well,
you're going to make those.
You wouldn't hold out. You just go back to college.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You hold out when you're a senior and you're out of eligibility, so no one holds out anymore if you do.
But him going back to college isn't going to get him to Utah in the next draft because presumably Utah's going to win a lot more games.
Well, unless nobody took him and didn't want to waste a pick, thinking, well, he might go back in again.
You do what Kobe did and just tell him I'll go back, trade me there. And Kobe slid to 12.
Yeah, but the problem was that Kobe, even just not playing college ball, because, in those days high schoolers could come out, which I think they need to restore that. Nobody really knew. We didn't get to see him. The world didn't get to see him on a stage that Dybantsa has been able to exhibit. Plus, now, with these things going on television, these preps, these traveling high school teams, so to speak, they're on when they're not even in college. So I had seen him play like Cam Boozer, both Boozers, but particularly Cam. Yeah. I saw him play 7-8 times on television before he got to that level. I can recall having conversations over the telephone with Pace Mannion when I'd watch his son play, and it was not in at a professional level or collegiate level. So I think that's a little bit different. I wonder if AJ decided, hey, I'm going to put my name in and then take it out, could he be drafted? Even would he be eligible to be drafted? So no one would take him in that way. And if he did that, or if somebody took him anyway, what would be the rules on that? Because we've all seen him play many, and the professional scouts, I'm sure I've seen him. We've seen him play 35 games. They've probably seen him play 70, 80 games because he plays in the 18 and under and the 17 and under and all that, 19 and under and all that stuff.
He's had 3 years of that playing for Team USA. So certainly those games are obviously scouted. He was a Massachusetts Player of the Year when he was a freshman in high school there, before he went to another academy, before he went to this one in Hurricane. So he's been on the radar forever. I mean, that's just... Yeah,
I think Gottlieb needs to get himself some publicity, and he does a good job. He used to have a radio show, and he would do this little around the sports world spiel. He must have had me on 10 times. For some reason, his producer got my name when it came time for anything Salt Lake. And they would call me, and it would you would just do a little hit. They would hit a topic, and you'd go, and then he'd say, "Oh, thank you," and on to the next one. We didn't. Right. I may have had a few interviews, but I just remember. I remember sitting in the car at the gym, thinking, "Okay, this is going to take 2 minutes. I can do it before I go in." And do that type of thing. And so he's managed to keep his name out there. I appreciate that he's willing to give opinions on so many subjects that. Why, but he's willing to do it, and this is another example.
If there's something that's going to come of this, it just seems like he's pointed in the wrong direction. I don't see why it would have something to do with the draft. And I think he's the number one draft pick, no matter who has the number one pick. Having said that, if it's about tampering and building this relationship, wouldn't it be for when he hits free agency, whenever that is? If you want to raise eyebrows then, what kind of money do you leave, and what kind of situation do you leave? What kind of money do you accept, and what kind of situation are you going to? Well, the fact they've had this long-running relationship with Dybantsa from a year at BYU or prior to that in Hurricane, is that going to pay off when he hits free? But that's still years away.
Yes, it is.
So the fact that somehow him having his previous relationship and having built some kind of relationship with Ryan Smith would pay off in him coming to the Jazz seems like, well, that's got to be 5 years out.
Okay, but that puts him at a whopping 24.
Yeah, right.
So
it's like, if that's the game, they're not playing it to win the game on draft night. Now it's just, well, do the lottery balls bounce your way, and then is he on the board when you pick? Is there a chance you can get him at number 2 that somebody else will take Peterson number 1 and he'll fall to you at 2?
Yeah, but if he says he's not going to sign and Kobe could use college as leverage, there might be somebody who says, well, maybe we can get Keontae George and picks. So, I mean, there's ways to go about it if he and his father and whoever his handlers are. Yeah, I think that's possible.
If that happens on draft night, then then Gottlieb can go back on the podcast and drop a big old "I told you so."
Well, but the thing that I disagree with, I don't believe there's a definition of fairness, and I don't want to hear. Once you introduce fair, then everything. It's like the referees. If I complain about a call in the fourth quarter, I can't overlook a call in the first quarter. If once I introduce the referees, I don't get to pick and choose which ones I want to introduce. And the word fair, once you introduce fair, that's not fair, then you've got to go through everything in your life that has been slanted toward you that was fair if you're complaining about something being unfair. You don't get to pick and choose which fairness you think is outrageous, right? It's the same thing with the word tampering. Tampering needs to be eliminated from sports definitions and vernacular because it goes on all the time. And what is Utah State complaining about fairness when they played on a Sunday night and Monday afternoon the reports were that Calhoun was gone? And but my gosh, if a kid's father took a phone call, well, that school XYZ is tampering. But over here, it would be just fine. How about that? I don't really understand that as far as that goes. So we need to eliminate the word tampering. There's no legal consequence to that anymore. So stop it. Right? We heard about the LeBron and the guys on the Olympic team conspiring to go play together, right? Well, okay, fine. That happens all the time. We need to stop that. And so Ryan Smith has a relationship. Ryan Smith likes to be around celebrities and all that stuff. He's got the money, so now he gets to be one. Who wouldn't want that, right? The game's over the other night, and there he is yucking it up with Sam Merrill. That's the company that he keeps now because he hit it big financially, right? If he was a school teacher, he'd just be another guy. But now he gets to be a billionaire and the celebrity that comes with a billionaire. So he can talk about, I was in Europe and I was playing with Rory, which is a conversation we've had. Well, good for him. I get to play with Eric Hammond, my friend, on Saturday. And that's awesome for me. Right? So he has a relationship.
Hasn't Eric hooked you up before?
I've hooked him up. He needs to start hooking me up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And like today, he's supposed to play Black Desert, and I don't feel bad for him that it's raining down there.
How hard? I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for a while now. You got a tea time. Just keep going.
And that'll get back to him, I'm sure. That's why I said that. So that's who his friends are. So is he really tampering? No, he's got a relationship with the guy. That's not tampering. And we're going to act like that doesn't exist and some rule and some bylaw should prevent that? That's ridiculous.
Once upon a time, Gordon Hayward had a relationship and ended up playing for the Celtics.
Right, and that came to pass, and that was 9 years. Yeah. So, it didn't work out. Obviously, he got the injury, and then they got players who were better than him. The idea of Dybantsa playing for the Jazz at some point in the next 10 to 15 years absolutely rings true, and I hope it does happen if that's what the kid wants. If he wants to come here, and that would be great. And obviously, he likes it here, and yucking it up with the women's team the other night as they won the game that got them to the Final Four of this tournament. Yeah, it warmed everybody's hearts to see this young man, who already is a millionaire, acting like he's a 19-year-old. How about that? Isn't that refreshing? And having fun with classmates in this big business that is basketball, that he's already been a part of for a number of years, acting like these are my classmates. I know these young lady basketball players, and our season's over, so I'm going to go support them. Who didn't feel good when you saw that everybody, even the hardcore, I hate BYU at all costs Ute fans, had to feel good that young man was high-fiving his classmates. Didn't that seem high schoolish? Some sort of level of purity, which doesn't exist mostly in the high school level anymore. But those are your classmates. If I was in high school and my high school, they didn't have a girls' team. They played in a city league. But if they did have a girls' team and they were playing in a state playoff or whatever it might be, we all would have gone, and it would have been awesome. And that's what he had to do. So that's cool. And he's got this relationship here with Ryan Smith and the Angels and so forth. Yeah. But I wouldn't call it tampering. I would just be calling it life.
It won't be tampering unless he leverages his way out on draft night.
But I don't think that's tampering. That's my point. That's not tampering.
Even that wouldn't be tampering.
There's no pure definition of tampering.
There's no pure definition of tanking, but some people get fined for it just because there's no purity.
Fine. Who cares? They got fined for it. Now they're sitting Flipper.
They got Dybantsa.
We were talking about this yesterday. They sit Flipper and Sensabaugh in the fourth quarter. And now no one's saying a thing. But 6 weeks ago, it was the biggest story in the sport. And we had to address it because a couple of players who played 27, 28 minutes are now not playing in the fourth quarter. Well, this last couple games, you mentioned Denver. I mean, they have Flipper is sitting, and Yak, is it Kennedy Chandler or Chandler Kennedy?
This game.
What is it?
Kennedy Chandler.
Yeah, he played 40 minutes, and Flipper's playing 24. Well, gosh, and no one's saying anything? Well, that's ridiculous. If it's an outrage in February, why isn't it an outrage in March?
Because there's not an all-star game that weekend with the commissioner holding a press conference.
He can hold a press conference anytime he wants.
That's it. He could. He doesn't want.
Well, I don't care about the press conference. He's got something to say. Great. That was then. What about now? It's like we get all excited and we see all these protests and whatever, and then time goes by and you are willing to just be out there on all this stuff and run your mouth and go crazy. But then a year later, that injustice is still there, but you don't hear anything about it. Peter, you get burned out? If you were so strong about a particular thing in 2020, well, then in 2021, you just let it go? I don't understand it. If you want to be fired up about it, good, stick with it. And so for Hi-Ho Silver, if you want to be fired up about it in February, they're even doing something more egregious. They're sitting young players who have the opportunity to develop and play in clutch moments. But no, they're going to sit for the sake of losing. I support that 100%. But that to me, that's worse than sitting Jaren Jackson, who's been at Michigan State and undoubtedly played in big playoff games in the NCAA tournament and played in the playoffs, I believe, with Memphis. So he can sit. But Filipowski and Sensabaugh, who haven't been in squat, they're sitting in what would be not in league clutch moments, but team and individual clutch moments, and they're sitting and nobody's saying a peep? We just totally overlooked that? That's a bunch of crap. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. But we're ignoring it now?
Ooh. You're borrowing some famous lines.
Does that make any sense? If that was in a basketball sense, not in a real life sense, because there are a few things bigger than basketball, pretty much everything, that if that was basketball injustice in February, then it's basketball injustice in March, but nobody's saying anything about it. What a waste of time that was to get all worked up about it. And now it's even more ridiculous that they're sitting guys who could benefit from playing in so-called clutch times for them. But no, and they're going to have, what is it, Locke? Is it Kennedy Chandler or Chandler Kennedy?
Kennedy Chandler.
He's playing 40 minutes. I was on Tuesdays with my golf guys, and I was talking to Glenn. You've met him. And I said, you realize for the rest of his life in the NBA, he may never play 40 minutes entirely, let alone one game?
That's good math, actually. 40 minutes. Does he get 40 minutes after this season is over.
I mean, I hope he does. Because we were talking, we're riding in the cart, and we're saying, it's kind of fun to see these young guys get an opportunity that they normally wouldn't have. And I said, absolutely. So in a weird sense, I've been enjoying seeing, who's the guy, Mez Lualdang, what's his name?
Bez Mbang.
Ben Zembang and the Lion King out there, seeing him do his thing. Yeah, that's fun.
Also known as John Conchar.
A bunch of guys that I can relate to, a bunch of no-name dudes that people told them you're not good enough their whole lives here, at least from the NBA level. And now they're getting this. Kennedy, what's-his-face, is getting 40 minutes to play a game? Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yuck. And I got Isaiah Collier, who's a second-year guy and can't shoot a lick, and he can't play? Come on.
Yuck, I knew you were bilingual. I didn't know you were trilingual. You're now translating for PK. You speak PK.
Well, I've been
dropping in little asides when he takes a breath.
When you spend more than a decade around you two, you seem to pick it up.
Wasn't it fun to see the Lion King do his thing?
The Lion King, yes.
John Conchar. It's John Conchar.
And somebody ought to get that to him, and if he makes the team next year, they ought to call him the Lion King.
He's the Lion King.
Doesn't that make sense? If you got a huge lion tat on your arm, shouldn't you be the Lion King? Is that big of a stretch here?
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Ace Bailey, he didn't come in, kick in the door and say, "This is my team now, everyone."
Absolutely, that's a big part of it.
Which I think is a great sign, actually.
Had the Jazz needed Ace to do what he did last night all season, this would have been a team that had a good rookie and had a really long future still ahead of them.
Yeah, nothing else.
And that's not going to be the case. And that's where this really gets interesting for me with what does Ace's future look like. But him doing this now is probably the best time for the Jazz. Nobody else is playing. He's just getting a lot of opportunity. He's getting a taste of what this stardom looks like. And then he's got to come back and fit in with another roster next year.
Yeah, he's got the pull-up. He's got the three. Man, that's a good-looking shot.
Yeah.
He's bouncy.
Yep.
He's blocking shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything you want to see from a rookie making progress.
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, we got our first extended look at or listen to from Utah State's new basketball coach. Your immediate impressions of a guy who sounded like he was clearly already recruiting his own players to stay put, as you might expect. I guess that was the first thing I took away from that press conference.
I think it's obvious it's time for Mark Few to retire because there's a new sheriff in town.
Move over, Gonzaga.
Right.
The Pac-12's got a new beast.
Yeah, you're going to rue the day you left the West Coast Conference. We got ourselves Benny Jacobson. And he ain't going to be bending any knee to Gonzaga. I'll tell you that right now.
Did you come away with any impressions of him? He talked about the whole, play fast thing, but then he had the explanations for why they play slow. So he's a college basketball coach. They'll just adapt to playing whatever they have to do to win.
Yeah, when I listen to him, man, I want to put my hand in the dirt and hit somebody.
Who's at the top of that list?
You.
That's what I thought. I thought that was probably going to be the answer.
We had the Rev Golf Tour guy in here yesterday, and you can go, what's that website, Yak?
GolfRevTour.com.
Yeah, you can go check that out if you want to play in golf leagues where you don't actually, you don't play the same course every week. You can play a bunch of courses, and you're in this league. It's not a virtual league. It's an actual league.
You're on tour.
So you do it like, he used the example, Talon's Cove, Sleepy Ridge, 1 week, and you got a week to play anyway. So he's in here, and we ran that the whole thing yesterday. His remarks we ran, And so the guy says to me, man, do all coaches say that? I said, yeah, they do. It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, there are going to be certain parameters, but if you stuck up guardrails like on a bowling alley lane, 99% of those comments would be within those guardrails when they first take over the job. And so I don't hold it for or against them. It's what you say and away you go. And the actions of that, we know what they're going to do and how they're going to say it, and then we get to see what the roster looks like in the coming months and what type of talent he puts out on the floor along with the coaching and everything that is involved, because I think you need everything from A to Z to run a successful program, and then we'll be able to see the results. I have no reason to think that he's going to fail, but those press conferences are sort of blah, blah, blah.
Well, he got through the blah, blah, blah portion of it, and now we'll see here in the next few weeks what the transfer portal looks like, who he's bringing with him from Northern Iowa, which probably a little limited there. I think 4 of their top 6 scorers were seniors. I think, are we past the point now where seniors can still somehow magically come up with another year of eligibility?
I think mostly, but, who knows? I mean, the quarterback for Ole Miss ends up getting another year.
Did he? Yeah, he got the magic
He
year.
had to go through some legal rank finagling, but he got it. And it's all basketball more than any sport that we have here in the college game can change so dramatically because there's fewer kids, obviously. And so who do they attract? Who decides to stay? Templin put his name in there. What's he? Is he a junior? I think he had 2 years.
He's a junior, yeah.
Yeah, so
he's a junior.
He's a player, but I don't blame any of these kids, particularly when you have a coaching change. They all should do it. Who am I or anybody to say, no, don't go to school across the street and leave money on the table? Who am I to say you must go because they're going to give you more money? I mean, it's all individual decisions, right? And essentially everyone is in the transfer portal. They want to put some regulations on it, and that's fine, but all of them are. They're all individual, year to year, away we go, and see what happens, and what can he do to retain and then recruit. And, once we get to the summer, then we'll have a much better idea of what the outlook is for the 26-27 season.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Tim Lacombe coming up at 8:30. We'll talk Utah Jazz and Final Four with him. Another question up on our Facebook page that got a lot of attention. AJ Dybantsa, was it worth it now that you've seen the full year unfold? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.